Was that a Pinocchio?
1-1, Scott to right. Deep and gone!
Sanchez, pitch went deep to left field, going back, Gurriel looking up, see ya! A two-run home run for Sanchez, and the Yankees lead 2-1.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Between the Lines. I'm your host, Tanner Kern, and this show is dedicated to all things baseball. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. Got our first in-person interview. Going to be talking about some news from the opening week, some of my favorite moments, and then we'll conclude with a Sunday night baseball preview. But before we get into all that good stuff, if you look up in the corner of your screen right here, you probably notice a couple new logos to the Between the Lines logo. That is because the Between the Lines show has merged with the Sports 2.0 network and BaseballSpotlight.com. Very exciting stuff. The Between the Lines show is going to be the official show of BaseballSpotlight.com, which is where I do a lot of my writing. And then Baseball Spotlight is part of the Sports 2.0 network, which has multiple websites dedicated to sports and betting content. So really exciting stuff. And actually, my guest tonight is Erik Neff, who is the content director for the Sports 2.0 show, big Cardinals fan. So we talk all about the fight that occurred the other day and Cardinals baseball and the National League Central in general. So I'm really excited for the merger, and I hope you guys are as well. So let's get into tonight's show. So we'll start with just talking about what's been going on in the league, American League, National League. Now, these standings are not totally up to date. Like Baltimore beat the Red Sox again today, which is embarrassing. That's why I got my Baltimore hat on, because I'm riding the Baltimore Orioles bandwagon. They could win this division this year. Let me know in the comments if you think so. No, stop. I'm just kidding. Baltimore's not win this division. It's going to be the Yankees or the Blue Jays, but the Red Sox are going to finish at the bottom of this division. They are bad. They cannot hit the ball. They can barely pitch. They're not a good baseball team. And if you're a Boston fan, I feel bad for you, because it's going to be a long, long year for you guys. But anyways, let's talk about the American League East. Yankees or Blue Jays, that's what you got to know. The Blue Jays took 2 games from the Yankees in their 3-game series this weekend. That's pretty embarrassing if you're a New York fan. Giancarlo Stanton was the loudest boo you've ever heard on opening day when he struck out to lose the game or conclude the game. He was booed more than the Astros at the Oakland Coliseum in front of their first time in front of fans since they cheated, or since the cheating scandal was released. Now, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That's New York for you. But it could be a long season for the Yankees if they don't get it together, because these Blue Jays are hungry for a division title, which we saw this week. Then you go down to the Central. Kansas City got beat today. But Kansas City is a team that's not going to be at the top of the division. I know they are now. But they're a team that's fun to watch. I loved watching them play over the past couple days. It's been really fun on the MLB TV app. Detroit has really beat up on Cleveland, which is surprising. I did not pick Detroit at all this week, and I got burnt because of it. But Detroit's a team that's not going to be good. But one thing about them, A.J. Hinch, the new manager there, the old Astros manager who was a cheater. If you're new to the show, I'm going to be picking on the Astros a lot. But A.J. Hinch is a good coach. He is changing the culture in that clubhouse, and you can tell by the way they've been playing. Young teams are dangerous. That's the bottom line. Same thing with Toronto. Young teams are dangerous. So veterans cannot overlook these young stars coming up who are hungry to win rings and get accolades. Then you go down to the West. Houston can still play baseball. It's obvious. They're a good team. They still got a great core there. They're going to be good. They're going to be probably the West champions, in my opinion. A team like LA is showing some holes, but I think LA can give them a run for their money. We'll see how Ohtani pitches tonight, but that's a 2-way race there. Texas, Oakland, and Seattle. I don't think Oakland's done enough, or from what they've shown against Houston in these first few games. Now, I know we got a long way to go, but you can tell Oakland doesn't have that grit right now, and Houston is just beating up on them bad. Seattle and Texas, they're going to be in the 5-4 holes in that division, but these teams are good. They're not bad. I mean, they could be a spoiler. You look at Texas, a guy like Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo is mashing 500-foot bombs. Seattle is playing very well. They're pesky. They're coming back. They're battling back from massive deficits. These guys are going to be good, and they're going to be good in the coming year. So that's what you really got to watch out for with those teams. So let's transition to the National League here. The National League, first thing you got to know about the National League, Philadelphia Phillies are going to be good. They're a team that can compete. Now, with Philadelphia, they've had a few really tight games, but they've won every single time against the Braves. Braves have not found a way to win. And you know what? That's because their bullpen pitching. The Braves bullpen is not very good right now. Philadelphia, it really hasn't even hit the ball yet either. When Philadelphia starts hitting, watch out for this team. They can compete with the Mets, and they can compete with the Washington Nationals. Now, those two teams had a series that was supposed to be played Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and it got canceled. COVID-19 won that series. But they're going to be playing tomorrow. Mets open up tomorrow, so we'll see how they look. But Philadelphia really caught my eye, and same thing with Miami. Miami is a team that, like we thought, they're going to be a spoiler in this division. So watch out for them. In the coming years, Miami is going to be really good. They've been playing against the Rays. They've bested the Rays once. The Rays have beat them twice. So we'll see how they do. But Miami looks good. Do not count out Miami. Then you go to the Central Division. It's kind of what we thought it was going to be heading into the season. Just an average division. Nothing special, nothing great. But with the Central Division, something that caught my eye is how bad Chicago is. Chicago is really not that good, which is a little surprising because they got guys like Chris Bryant. You got guys like Anthony Rizzo. You got guys like Javi Baez. But those players are not performing right now, and they're not happy being in Chicago. They need to get out. Free agency needs to hit. I think Chicago trade these guys at the deadline if they're not in it and start preparing for the future because none of those players want to be there, and you can tell how they're playing baseball right now. St. Louis, so. I mean, I think St. Louis is going to be good. They're going to be better than the Reds. Now, the Reds have bested them a couple times already, but I like Nolan Arenado there. I like Paul Goldschmidt, Goldonado, as they call it. I think St. Louis's pitching is something to be concerned about. With Milwaukee, though, Milwaukee is probably going to win this division. They have not started to hit the ball yet. Kristen Yelich has not performed like we expected Kristen Yelich to coming off a slump season. He seems like he's kind of continued that slump from the 60-game slate last season. So with the Central Division, it's probably going to be a two-way race, in my opinion, between St. Louis and Milwaukee. I think once Milwaukee starts to hit, they're going to pull away in the division because they have more pitching than St. Louis. And then you go to the West. The most surprising thing with the West thus far is the Colorado Rockies are not afraid of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Colorado made a statement on opening day. They took down the Dodgers. Now, this doesn't mean anything, obviously. We got 162 games to play. The Dodgers are going to get beat. But still, coming out, upsetting the champs on opening day, that's pretty big. San Diego's looked good so far. Haven't looked great, but they've looked really good. There's definitely some room for improvement. But they're right there with the Dodgers. They're going to be able to compete. And the Dodgers need to show up every day because they are going to get every team's best in the division in the whole game of baseball. And that's why they lost on opening day. They didn't show up. Kershaw looked bad. But the next night they got back on the winning track with Trevor Bauer. But the thing about the Dodgers is if they show up and they don't take teams seriously, they're going to lose. And that's the way this game works. So that division is going to come down to San Diego and LA, obviously. But just something to note, Colorado did not care that they lost Nolan Arenado. They were showing up to beat the Dodgers, and they did that on opening day. So, speaking of Nolan Arenado, his new team, the St. Louis Cardinals, are already fighting with the Cincinnati Reds. Now, I love this rivalry. I think it's one of the best in sports, one of the best in the National League Central divisions. Not the best division, but it's a good rivalry in that division. So with this, if you guys saw this fight that occurred, it started on opening day. It started with a guy named Nick Castellanos. He hit a home run on opening day when the Cardinals were pounding the Reds. Castellanos hits a home run. I think it was like 9-0 at the time or 9-2. He hits like a 2-run shot, make it 9-4. Still, the Reds were not winning this game. He turns to the Reds dugout, which is his own team, flips the bat, skips down the line, gives like a flex like he's bad or something, which I love. I think it's great for the game. Me and Erik talk about that in the upcoming interview. But the St. Louis Cardinals did not like it very much, and they took it into their own hands the next day. So they threw at Castellanos the next day, and then there was actually ended up being a play at the plate after he made it all the way around the bases, and it turned into a benches clearing. I wouldn't say brawl, but definitely a benches clearing argument. If players wouldn't have split it up, it would have got bad. So here's the video of the fight. I'll let you be the judge, but I wanted to show it before I get into the interview with Erik because that's what we spent a majority of the time talking about. So here it is.
Oh, the first pitch drills it. Castellanos gives a stare, and he'll be granted first base.
Yachty keeping the peace out there, explaining what happened.
First pitch away, squirts loose. Castellanos storms home. The shovel, he's safe. And Castellanos right in the face of Woodford, and now the bench is empty. This divisional rivalry game, Castellanos took exception to getting hit by a pitch. And Woodford being held back by his teammates as he repeatedly points at Castellanos. Now the bullpens emerge.
So, I mean, I'll let you be the judge of that, but tempers are flaring early. I love this. We got 162 games. These teams are going to play each other 19 times this season, so another 16 times. You got to be excited about this. The fight's not great for baseball, but I love the passion. I love the energy. So here's an interview with the Sports 2.0 Network content director, Erik Neff. He's a huge Cardinals fan. We talk about this and the whole landscape of the National League Central. So check it out, and I will be back at the end of this interview. What's up, guys? I'm joined by Erik Neff, content director of the Sports 2.0 Network. The Sports 2.0 Network would not be a thing without him. The baseballspotlight.com would not be a thing without him. The Baseball Between the Lines show would not be a thing without him. So I'm pumped to have him on the show, and he is a huge Cardinals fan. Erik, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Appreciate that intro. I'm sure most of it's not true. I'm sure you guys could trudge through the mud and trenches without me, but I appreciate it. Pumped for baseball season, man. I'm glad it's here. I can't believe it's here. That little 60 game season we had last year, just that wasn't good enough for me. That doesn't get in my baseball fill for these. So pumped to have baseball back and pumped to be here, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's been a lot of surprises this year. Like we were just talking before. Like I'm watching the Red Sox right now, getting beat 10-0 by the Baltimore Orioles. They're going to get swept in the opening series. There's been a lot of surprises. You got anything to add to that?
There really have been early. The first one obviously being Eloy going down for Chicago. I hated seeing that for him. I really wanted to see him come out hot. Would have loved to see the meat of the lineup there for those guys. The Rockies coming out against the Dodgers, man. I mean, Nolan, who got traded to St. Louis? They're just rocking it on offense. Trevor Story leading that offense. Man, that guy needs to come to my team or any team. I would love to see Story get out of there because man, he can still rock the offense. I love that. And then of course we got a little fight action already yesterday in the Cardinals Reds game. It's all the Reds. I don't want to hear it, Reds fans. It's always you guys every time, every major brawl. And it's not just with the Cardinals. The Pirates hate you also. They're throwing it at you more than we ever have. And uh, that kind of brings me into the fragile egos of baseball players, but I digress. Um, love seeing baseball being back. Love seeing these little surprises, like for instance, like you were just saying, the Red Sox being down 10-0, and halfway through the game so far. I love seeing these teams like Baltimore, like the Rockies, surprise us a little bit. If we could all predict the season, we'd all quit watching. So I love it when especially with the Orioles, really behind the Orioles. Trey Mancini and everything he's went through, great person. They have great prospects. They've been bad for a while. Would love to see the Orioles here to stay.
Yeah, definitely. The Orioles, they could be better than a lot of people think they were going to be, and especially the Rockies too. The Rockies could be better, or the Dodgers might just not be as good as people thought they were going to be. Yesterday they benched Mookie Betts and Justin Turner on the third day of the season. Not a lot of teams have the ability to do that. But yeah, definitely been some surprises. I want to talk about the fight though, first of all. Now the fight started on the Castellanos home run on opening day, and it kept going. But let me hear your take on it all, and then I'll give you mine.
Mine's interesting. I have hated the Reds for many years as a Cardinal fan, in a fun way. I have a lot of Reds fans, friends, and I love the fan rivalries. I love whenever our teams play and I get the opportunity to really go with my friends. I hate when it gets serious like it did yesterday because then emotions become involved and those same friends are like legitimately upset and I'm like, dude, calm down. It's a baseball game. It's fine. My take here is the Castellanos skip to first on the home run against Jack Flaherty. I have no problem with that. Jack Flaherty played at a fastball. If you don't want him to skip to first, don't play the fastball like that. I mean, he just you can't do it, especially against a good power hitter like Castellanos. So I had no problem with that. I typically don't ever have any problems with home run celebrations, bat flips, that type of thing. I love it. I think the game needs more of it. I think that's how we begin to get the youth back into America's pastime. So I was good with it. When he came up against Woodford yesterday, that home run was the farthest thing from my mind, just personally. Like I did not think about that skip to first. And that being said, I do think it would be naive to think that Woodford wasn't thinking about the skip down to first. I believe it probably was intentional. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of guys throwing at guys. I'm not a big fan of taking a chance on hurting somebody over a guy having some fun down the first base line. I've never been a fan of the throwing at him. I know that's baseball. I know that's old school baseball. I know I'm a fan of the team that once had Bob Gibson, who was one of the most feared guys on the mound of all time. But I've just never been a fan of the throwing it guys. However, when Castellanos got hit, it hit him in the meat of the back. You can't hit a guy in a better spot than that. That's you're gonna hit somebody, throw it there. When Castellanos picked up the ball and was looking at Woodford, I was like, Yachty's gonna slap him. Like
Yeah.
I knew instantly right then. I was like, Yachty's gonna get a hold of you, man. Like, and that's where I will upset my Cardinal brethren. I love Yadier Molina. He is my favorite baseball player of all time. I love the man. I love having a badass catcher that people fear, not only on the base paths, but when they're doing things like that. I love having that guy. At the same time, when Castellanos slides into home and kind of gets in Woodford's face, you can take that a couple of ways. A lot of Reds fans said Woodford put his knee in Castellanos's back. Maybe he did a little. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think the meeting at home plate was intentional by Woodford. I don't think he came in hard or tried to do anything weird. I think he was running hard, trying to make the play at home. I think Yachty was trying to do the same thing. Castellanos getting up and kind of chesting him. I'm still at that point. I mean, yeah, he's instigating, but I'm still fine with that. Like, I mean, he's pumped up. He scored a run. You just got hit in the back. If you got hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the middle of the back and then scored a run, basically a one-on-one at home against the same guy that just hit you, yeah, you're probably going to get a little juiced up. You're going to get a little adrenaline going. However, when he did that, I knew Yachty was going to get a hold of him. And that is where I digress away from my fellow Cardinal fans because you don't see catchers get a hold of guys coming into home like that. Most catchers, whenever somebody gets pegged, catcher gets between the batter and the pitcher and walks him down to first, trying to calm him down. Just hey man, accidental, just go on to first. Our bad. Yachty doesn't do that. The second a batter eyes our pitcher, Yachty's like, hey, don't look at the pitcher. Go to first. Stop looking at him. Stop talking. Now that's where like I love Yachty, but man, calm down. Like I wouldn't have minded it even if he would have just went over and said, hey, told Castellanos like, hey man, no, you're not gonna get in my pitcher's face like that. But the way he came at him, I knew immediately. I was like, oh, benches are clearing here. Benches are definitely clearing, and they did. And like I said, I love the badass Yadier Molina. I love it. Um, Sometimes I wish he'd just settle it down and maybe try to diffuse the situation, though. Baseball fights used to be so fun for me, and now as an adult, after seeing Jason LaRue in Cincinnati get kicked in the face by Brandon Phillips and Neville again, I'm not. That's not my thing. I don't want to see that happen to guys. I want to see guys keep playing. I want to see their careers extended. So it's just not the type of thing I wanted to see. I did love seeing Nolan Arenado run down that third baseline like he was going to kill somebody. You love seeing that guy defending his new teammates. I don't know what the heck was going on in right field. Jordan Hicks and Justin Williams are out in right field trying to go at somebody hard. And I never did figure out what in the world was happening in right field at the end of that play. However, my favorite part of the fight was Castellanos last night or this morning. I forget which. Derek Gould, great St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, asked him a few things about it. And Castellanos said Yadier Molina could have walked straight up to me, punched me right in the face. And afterwards, I would have asked him for an autographed jersey. I have so much respect for that man. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that out of players. I would love to see a little more of that out of my side of this fight. But that's kind of where I'm at on the fight. I'm up in the air. I'm up in the air. I'm not on the Reds side. However, Yachty, man, you're 40. Probably try to stop acting like a pissed off 26-year-old. Like, let's settle down, walk him to the dugout. Let's go to the next pitch. So, but that's where I'm at. What did you think? How did you come away from the fight?
Well, you go back to opening day and you talk about the Castellanos home run. I thought that was fine. He did not mock the pitcher in any way. He skipped. He was looking at his own bench. He flipped the bat at his own bench. I mean, they were getting blown out at the time. It really didn't mean much. You don't want to see a fight, obviously, because that's not good for the game. It's not good for players' health. But I like the bat flip early on opening day. I don't mind that. I think that's fine. I don't think there's a need for retaliation there. Now, if he's doing that at their bench, maybe there's a little more, okay, you can throw at this guy, which I'm not in favor for by any means, but that would be an instance where I'd say, okay, throw at this guy. I think it was
Right.
intentional. But I think it's good. I mean, baseball's back. It was nobody got hurt, luckily. And it got that Cardinals Reds rivalry going early in the season. So I think it was harmless in that case, but I'd like to see it, level out as we go through the season.
Absolutely. I think the worst thing about the fight was, and this is anytime the Cardinals are playing anybody and we get in a fight, is no matter who we fight, it gets Cubs and Brewers fans super riled up. So they were all up in my mentions on Twitter last night. And I hate when my team's kind of in the wrong. Like, I couldn't be like, no, he's the GOAT, leave him alone. I had to just kind of remain silent because I'm like, yeah, he should maybe calm down. Like, I'm not about the I love the skip into first. I love the bat flips, man. That's a huge part of the game now, and it should have always been. You're out there playing. I know people call it a kids game. It's not a kids game. Kids don't throw 105-mile-an-hour sinkers, but I mean, you're out there playing a game, baseball, one of the greatest ways to pass time in the world. And I mean, why are you mad? Why are you mad? Calm down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I hate seeing the fighting. But I'm with you on that. I love seeing that rivalry heat up early. There's always this immense hatred, especially in Cincinnati. One of my favorite Yachty moments ever is actually I can't remember I think it was like the 2016 All Star game when it was in Cincinnati. I don't
Mhm.
recall the exact year, somewhere in the mid 2000 teens. Whenever they announced Yachty for the All Star game, the standing boo ovation from Cincinnati and the big smile on Yachty's face, and he just kind of pointed at the name on the back of his jersey. That's the Yachty I love. That's the kind of, and Yachty's got to understand that him pointing at that name on the back of his jersey, hey man, that's your bat flip. Like, that is, to them, I'm sure that was like a bat flip. Like, I mean, he's got to let some of these guys get away with a few things. I could understand Brandon Phillips. I could understand Troy, yeah, the Diamondbacks manager that I can't think of his name, last year or 2 years ago. I called him a word that I'm not going to say on our wonderful between the lines here. And Yachty just said after the game, you come up to the plate and you call me that, you better get your hands up because we're going to fight. Like, I don't, it's kind of a translation thing here in the States. We kind of throw cuss words around all cattywampus and they're funny and it's all fun and games. And Yachty is from Puerto Rico, where they maybe don't throw that word around like that. And if someone says it to him, you better be ready to fight. So didn't have much of an issue with those couple, but this one, if Woodford did throw at him, I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of throwing at somebody for a skip to first. I mean, wasn't a close game. We were getting blown out, so I had no issue with the skipping at all.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the whole Central Division for a minute. I wasn't very high on the Cardinals going into the season. I mean, I knew they could do some damage. I knew they could win the Central, but like the addition of Nolan Arenado adds a whole nother dimension to this team. You got a team like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's given Chicago a lot of trouble over the past couple of days. Chicago doesn't look great. The Brew Crew does not look good at all. I mean, they still haven't had an offense. So when you look at the St. Louis Cardinals, does Nolan Arenado make them the clear front runner for the division title, 3 games into the season?
As much as I would like to say yes, I don't quite think it does. Milwaukee still scares me a little bit, and not offensively. I think the Cardinals are going to have a heck of an offensive year. I think we'll be, uh, if we can get to a point where we're close to the top of the Central or at the top of the Central, I think our run differential will be pretty good. However, Much like I would say almost every fan of any neutral team right now, our pitching staff does scare me. I'm not worried about Jack Flaherty. I think he gets it together. I think when Kim comes back, I don't think the season we saw out of him in his rookie year last year, I don't think that was a fluke season. I think Kim is a solid number 2 or 3 starter. Um, and unlike most Cardinals fans, I argue about this a lot with other Cardinals fans. I love Carlos Martinez. I know that he's had some injury history. Um, I get frustrated when people start talking about his antics or maturity. I don't like that. It makes zero sense to me. He's never had any antics other than he dyes his hair. And maturity level, I mean, he gets pumped or maybe down after a pitch kind of follows the flow of the game. One of the greatest Cardinal pitchers ever is Chris Carpenter. Nobody followed the flow of the game worse than Chris Carpenter. When Chris Carpenter would go down, you might as well set him on the bench. And if someone in the field, I mean, he once pretty much made Brendan Ryan cry out at shortstop because he was just screaming at him on the field with 2 outs in the inning because uh, Carpenter allowed a run that was kind of on Ryan. Now we don't see those antics out of Carlos yet. He gets more heat than Chris Carpenter ever got, and I'm not gonna say why I think that is, but I think that it's pretty obvious when you stand the two side by side and look at them, what the difference is there. And I think Cardinal fans, I would caution you to look at Carlos Martinez's his stats and his numbers on the field. He's never been bad. I don't know how he even gets that rap. Any season that he was it hampered by injuries, his ERA has remained under 4 forever, which isn't a huge, it's not a huge deal. But whenever you're getting in the low threes for a couple seasons, and it's your first 7, 8 seasons, you'll look at the same guy, Chris Carpenter's first 6 seasons were not good. They were bad. He was very, very, very bad in Toronto. And we still brought him in and we still made him an ace. And so when people see the young Carlos Martinez and the numbers he's put up and say, "Oh, he'll never be anything, trade him." That's frustrating to me because I don't understand what you're seeing. I don't know what numbers you're looking at here because to me I see a guy that still has Cy Young potential. And when Carlos Martinez is on, there's nobody on the team that has his stuff. That backup two seamer he has, nobody on our team has that two seamer. I mean, you could maybe put Alex Reyes, I'm sorry, and a few Jack Flaherty sliders there with it, but that backup two seamer is a cheap pitch. So I'm not as worried about Carlos. I am worried about Miles Michaelis's return, and I'm worried about Adam Wainwright being 73 years old.
Yeah.
I love Wayno. He didn't look terrible yesterday. It was slow, but he's been slow for 2 years now. And I'm dumb enough to think that Wayno and Yachty can really control that. Can really they're intelligent enough and have worked together enough. I feel like the last few seasons, Wayno's worked around his top speed. So I was thinking and hoping they could do that. Yesterday was not a great sign of that. However, our offense is sparked and going. Goldonado is in effect. Goldie and Arenado are just, I mean, Paul Goldschmidt's got the most hard hit balls in baseball so far this season. We had a lot of fans that were complaining about DeYoung at the cleanup spot. He hit 2 dingers yesterday, as well as 2 walks in that game. So 2 for 2 in his second game at cleanup this season. So he was looking pretty good. Carlos has looked very well today. So still worried about the pitching staff. Not worried about our last couple of days have kind of been a disaster bullpen wise. I think our bullpen settles down and is fine. What worries me across the Central is if Milwaukee's pitching staff gets it together, or well, not their pitching staff, really. Right now, their offense. If their offense can get it going again, Christian Yelich hasn't looked like Christian Yelich since the second half of 2019. Uh, he's gonna wake up. I mean, it's Christian Yelich. He's a great ball player. He's gonna wake up and get it going. And if somebody else on that team can help him out offensively, Woodford and Burns at 1 and 2, I mean, that's solid. You've got Hayter and Devin Williams coming out of the pen, the National League Rookie of the Year, and Josh Hayter. I mean, their pitching can get it done, but their offense has certainly been lackluster so far this season. And even last season, I can't remember what the number was that Yelich hit last year. It was like 201 though. It
Yeah.
was low 200s. It was
Mm-hmm.
pretty ugly. So I do worry about the Brewers. I'm not really worried about anybody else. The Cubs pitching staff's just as bad as ours, and they're offensively not as good as us. The Reds think they're good every year, and they never are. Their pitching staff also not great, and they're defensively one of the worst baseball teams in the league, possibly the worst baseball team in the league defensively. So I don't know why Reds fans seem to think that they should be ranked above us. They are insane. The Pirates have a bright future. This isn't their year. Love Cabrian Hayes. Was very sad to see him hit the IL today. That sucks. Love watching that kid play. Think he's going to be a superstar. Really hope the Pirates choose to build around him. So that's kind of where I'm at. I gave you no direct answer. I have no idea what we're going to finish. I do think it's probably a two-team race between us and Milwaukee.
Yep. I agree with that for sure. Now, final question I want to ask you. You know, we were talking about the Red Sox earlier. We're talking about all the things that happen. Realistically, we're only 3 games into the season. So, you know, the Red Sox could get swept by the Orioles in the first series. It really doesn't mean a whole lot over the course of 162. What's been your biggest surprise that has led to like a reaction, like an unnecessary reaction? You know what I mean? Like something that's like, this hits, like the Dodgers almost getting beat by the Rockies 3 times. Like, are the Dodgers good? Of course the Dodgers are good. We know that. So what has been your reaction so far in the season to a surprise?
I think the biggest surprise for me was, I mean, I literally I expected the Dodgers to come out and roll the Rockies 30 runs to nothing in the series. I would say that's definitely the biggest surprise. The Rockies just coming out hammering the baseball. Clayton Kershaw not looking great in his first outing. That was very surprising. Teoscar Hernandez hammering the ball in Toronto. Love to see that against the Yankees on opening day. A big Teoscar fan, so I love seeing that. And as you know, I'm a big Jays guy this year. I know they'll probably finish a little behind the Yankees, but I love seeing the Jays get it started early.
They're beating them right now, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
I know they're I think they've got that young player thing going where they get amped up off a win, and I think that's what makes them dangerous. They get amped off a big win on the Yankees, they get amped off a big series win against the Yankees, and then they just keep it rolling. Guys like Bo Bichette, guys like Kevin Biggio, Teoscar, Vladdy, the team is stacked on the offensive side, but probably just not enough on the pitching side to get it done this year. But my favorite surprise, Tanner, was a Dylan Carlson 3-run home run on opening day. That was so far. That's got the biggest reaction out of me as far as a moment. I'm a massive Dylan Carlson supporter. I think the kid's going to be a superstar. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people think he's just going to be a solid outfielder. I think the kid has superstar potential, and seeing him come up to the plate and just murder a Luis Castillo, I mean, just massacred that baseball. That was the first thing that made me jump up out of my chair this season. I was very excited about it, and also just the middle of the Cardinals lineup already hitting. We're typically a very slow starting team. We usually depend on our pitching early in the season, especially the last couple of years, and that includes Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know what it is about this lineup offensively this year, but Paul Goldschmidt is already smoking baseballs everywhere, and now he's got Arenado behind him, protecting him, and hopefully Paul DeYoung can do the same thing that he's doing for Goldschmidt for Arenado, and so we can get Arenado seeing some pitches. But my favorite thing to watch for upcoming is keep your eye on the Texas Rangers. Their pitching is bad. They have some offensive talent that's very young that could take off. They've got Solak. Of course, we all know Joey Gallo is going to hit
Yeah,
40 home
he had like a
runs in
450
38.
foot shot yesterday
Oh
or
my
something.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Fun fact while I'm here. Joey Gallo took Greg Maddox's daughter to prom. That's a fact. And the same day he took her to prom, Joey Gallo had thrown a no-hitter that day in high school. And that's like all Greg wanted to talk to him about. And then all Gallo wanted to talk about was hitting 500-foot bombs because he was not interested in pitching. Imagine throwing a no hitter, taking Greg Maddox's daughter to prom that day, and not caring about pitching at all. You're just like, yeah, it's cool, no hitter, but I'm gonna hit 50 bombs at the major league level. So forget all
He's that kind of player. I mean, I watched
Yeah,
a
that's
mic'd up video with him in the outfield in Texas. He's just got that vibe. Like, he's all on hitting. He's an offensive guy. He loves hitting bombs. He loves the show. And I think that's the kind of players we need in this game, honestly.
It really is. It really is. And that's another thing, like I was saying earlier with the youth. Uh, people want to know why baseball's not growing and why maybe our other major sports are. Well, we need more guys like Gallo. We need more Cody Bellingers. We need Fernandez Jr. We need these type of guys. And unfortunately, we need less of the type of guy that Mike Trout is. I love Mike Trout. He's the greatest player I've ever seen, aside from maybe Barry Bonds. But I want to see some Mike Trout bat flips, man. You're the best in the game. I would flip that bat to the moon every time I had a home run. If I was the best baseball player in the world, I'd be the most arrogant, insufferable human being. I just would be. I know myself. I would work. I'm the greatest player ever in every conversation that I was having with any person all the time. I love seeing these young guys really get it going. And before I go, I would like to say, uh, shame on Major League Baseball for their blackout restrictions. Um, as many people in the Midwest know, Sinclair Broadcasting Group were unable to spark a deal with 99% of cable providers throughout the middle of the country, and it's leaving roughly 50% of Cardinals fans without a way to watch games. I would have to switch Xfinity to watch games on Valley Sports Midwest, and I don't even get Xfinity where I'm at. So thanks Major League Baseball for letting people pirate all of your games now, and you get to lose all kinds of money because you chose to black out everything on MLB TV. And this goes for especially, I want to apologize to people in Iowa who are blacked out from the Brewers, the White Sox, the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Royals, and I believe there's one other team, the Rockies. So if you live in Iowa, you physically cannot watch baseball pretty much. Six teams blacked out. Let's get rid of blackout restrictions. Let's get a standalone app and let us fans watch the game. We love your game, MLB. We want to watch your game. I love your game. Don't don't punish fans that want to watch your game. And that's the number one thing in my opinion, causing the game to, I guess, not quite be as popular as the other major sports. Uh, I mean, you want to grow the game, give people access to it. If the kids don't have access to the game, you're never going to be able to grow it. So, just wanted to throw that in before you let me off the hook. I'm very upset at the way MLB has handled this last two seasons, and obviously very upset that I have to go to my mom's house at 35 years old to watch a Cardinal game. But I'll do it because I love the game, and that's why they should do something about it. So
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Erik. The end got cut off. We had some technical difficulties, but he's a great guy, awesome baseball fan in general. So I hope you enjoyed what he had to say. So let's get to my favorite moments of the week. Now, if a favorite moment of yours didn't make this list, this is my list, so keep that in mind. Let me know in the comments, though, what you guys enjoyed about this week that I missed. So we're going to start with Justin Upton. I love Justin Upton. He was a first-round pick in 2005. He's been around a really long time, but he has not been good since about 2017. This year, he's only hitting 200 right now, but he had a big hit last night to rally the Los Angeles Angels to victory. Home run, go-ahead home run in the late innings. I think it was in the 8th to give them the victory. So here's the clip. Check it out.
Fly ball left field toward the wall. Gone! Jay up going uptown. Looking for that pitch. Inner half. Knowing he's going to be pitched inside. And he lifts it out of the ballpark. 2-run home run. Halo's up now. 5-3. Carried that swing from spring training into the season. And Jay up. So big. So
Now, I know he's only hitting 200 this season, but from what he has done so far, he showed some really promising signs with the bat. If he can do that, watch out for the Los Angeles Angels this year. This goes from an average lineup to one of the top lineups in the American League. Now, they're not the Yankees, they're not the Blue Jays, but They have Mike Trout. They have Anthony Rendon. They have Shohei Ohtani. If they get production from Justin Upton in the bottom third of that lineup, watch out for the Los Angeles Angels in that division. And you know what? They could probably give Houston a run for their money. So really happy to see Upton performing early. Hopefully he gets that batting average up, but the power is there. It's still there, even though he has been in the league for years. So then we'll go to the Phillies. Now, confirmed, Zach Wheeler is good. If you didn't know that, you found out yesterday. Zach Wheeler, starting pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. He was with the Mets in 2019. He was good with the Mets, really good actually with the Mets. I mean, he was an above average pitcher. The Mets did not offer him a contract extension, and he went to the Phillies. The Mets didn't even give him a contract extension, didn't even give him an offer for any amount of money. And he is going to be striking them out all season long. Zach Wheeler was phenomenal yesterday. He went 7 innings, gave up 1 hit in 7 innings. Beast mode. Phillies got the win because of Zach Wheeler. Here's some highlights from his outstanding pitching performance.
Swing and a miss, 98. Second strikeout for Wheeler. And a called strike 3. 0-2 pitch coming. And a swing and a foul tip. He got him 1, 2, 3. 4 strikeouts for Wheeler. That was 97, and it was exploding down in the zone. And a call, strike 3. Slider on the outside part of the plate. 5 strikeouts for Zach Wheeler. There's the 2-2 pitch to Swanson. Swing and a miss. 99 on the fastball. 6 strikeouts for Wheeler. And a call, strike 3.
Now, Wheeler had a 2.92 ERA with Philly in his first season. Now, I know it was only 60 games late, but this pitcher's good. Look for him to be the best number 2 pitcher in baseball this year, at least in the National League. I mean, I know you got the Dodgers, got a stacked rotation there, you got a stacked rotation in San Diego, but Zach Wheeler is legit. And I feel sorry for the New York Mets fans who have to watch him strike out Frankie Lindor multiple times this season when they could have had him in their roster for not a lot of money. He's only making $570,000 with the Philadelphia Phillies, I believe. So the Mets could have gotten him for very little money compared to what they're paying a guy like Frankie Lindor. All right, so then we'll go to Nolan Arenado. Is a perfect fit in St. Louis. I mean, he was meant for a big market like St. Louis. He is not meant for Colorado, even though Colorado looks pretty good without him. But he is meant for St. Louis. He's hitting 400 this season going into today's game. And he hit his first home run yesterday as a Cardinal. So here's the clip. Guy's a beast.
And the 3-2. Arenado with a drive. Out to deep left and his first as a Cardinal. Nolan Arenado, 2-run homer. Number 1 with St. Louis.
Just talked about not giving away that bat. He didn't like the call on 2-1. He was vocal about it. He was locked in, and he was locked in on this offering from Romano. Fastball down in the zone. That beautiful swing, the nice high finish. We're going to see a lot of that, Dan.
Now, Nolan Arenado looks great with the Cardinals jersey on. He looks even better with that baby blue Cardinals jersey. I love that thing. I'm going to get one. But he is a beast. Great fit. Him and Goldschmidt going together. Goldonado is going to be an amazing duo in St. Louis for years to come. So then we'll move on to the Dodgers. Trevor Bauer shines in his Dodgers debut. I wrote a blog on this on baseballspotlight.com right here, so go check that out. I break down his whole start. But Trevor Bauer's really good. He won the Cy Young last year for the Cincinnati Reds. Now, a lot of people have said that wasn't a legit Cy Young because it was over a 60-game season, but Trevor Bauer earned it last season. And you know what? A lot of people said the same thing about the Dodgers. They said that was a fluke championship because they did it in 60 games. Well, here's the thing for all you haters out there. And let me know in the comments if you agree with this. But the Dodgers were clearly the best team in baseball last season, and Trevor Bauer was the best pitcher in the National League, hands down. I don't care if it was 60 games. I don't care if it was 162 games. I don't care if it was 300 games. Trevor Bauer would have won the National League Cy Young, and the Dodgers would have won the World Series. And that's why he is a perfect fit with this team. So Friday, Bauer made his first start in Dodger blue, and he was fantastic through 6 innings. Now, the 7th inning was a little rough, gave up a couple bombs, but he was feeling it in the 1st inning, 2nd inning, 3rd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning, and 6th inning. He was doing the Conor McGregor strut off the mound, baby. He was on fire. Absolutely on fire. 7th inning, different story. But it's not midseason for him yet. So if you're a Dodger fan, you should be excited about Bauer. Here was some of the highlights from his 6 innings of dominance on Friday night against the Colorado Rockies.
Out of Santa Clarita, California, Trevor Bauer making his Dodger debut. Slider gets a chase, 2 out. And his first strikeout in the Dodger uniform. On 1-2. Missed his spot. Diving stop, Gavin Lux. What a play! That's the best defensive play of his young big league career. Gets Owens to chase for strike 3.
Now Bauer to throw his 30th pitch, 1-2 to Senzatella. Call strike 3, fastball knee high through the heart of the plate. He's done. 3rd strikeout for Bauer.
Brings another 1-2 to Tapia and strikes him out with a cutter. And they exchange a stare. Tapia staring back at Bauer, who returns it in his direction and then steps.
I love that last clip of him striking out Tapia, staring him down, and then doing the Conor McGregor strut off the mound. If you don't like that, you don't like baseball, because he is good for the game of baseball. I know there's a lot of Trevor Bauer haters out there, but I'm a big Bauer guy. And just a heads up, every strikeout that he makes this year, he is going to donate $1,000 to a Los Angeles nonprofit. Every month he's going to change up the nonprofit. So this is a good guy. He's great for the community. He's going to be a staple in Los Angeles. I think he's a perfect fit in that locker room, even though he is a little quirky at some times. So that's Trevor Bauer for you, though. So Sunday Night Baseball, White Sox and Angels. Now, the White Sox have taken 1 game in this 4-game series so far. The Angels have taken 2. Tonight is, I guess, the grudge match, but the White Sox can even the score. The Angels can go up 3-1 in the series. So with this game, really, Dylan Cease is on the mound for the White Sox. Now, I picked the Angels. I don't trust Dylan Cease. I don't. He's a young pitcher. I think he's 26, 27 years of age. He's been in the league 2 years. He led the league last season in base on balls with 35. Not like from being a batter and walking. He walked 35 hitters. He led the American League. Not good. Shohei Ohtani, the bright lights in Los Angeles are on for Shohei Ohtani tonight. He needs to perform. Last season, the injuries caused him not to pitch. They've been babying Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles since he won the Rookie of the Year 4 years ago. They've been babying Shohei Ohtani. This is the night that this man needs to step up and deliver in primetime. His last start in spring training, he got shelled by the Los Angeles Dodgers. He gave up 3 home runs. Okay, no big deal. The Dodgers are legit. That was spring training. But tonight, the primetime lights are on ESPN at 8 o'clock. You got to step your game up and you got to pitch and deliver a win for your team and show why you could be the American League MVP this season. If Shohei Ohtani, wins probably 12 to 15 games on the mound and he hits 20 bombs, no question he's the American League MVP because of what he can do. Nobody can pitch and hit like Shohei Ohtani if he shows up and he does well tonight and throughout this season. Okay, so the one thing you got to look for is the pitching battle in this game, Dylan Cease versus Ohtani. If Cease can control his fastball and control his off-speed stuff, White Sox have a chance. If he can't, look for Ohtani to have a big night. If Ohtani does what he is capable of, the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, the great breaking pitches, he is going to lead the Angels to victory tonight. They got a team that can hit the ball behind Rendon. Mike Trout now with Justin Upton stepping up. So look for this game to be a great one. I'm taking the Angels, though. I think the Halos pull off the win tonight and go up 3-1 in the series. So we'll see, though. And that does it for tonight's episode of Between the Lines. Thanks for joining me. This is the first episode as the show is part of the Sports 2.0 Network and BaseballSatellite.com. So thank you so much. If you want to connect with the Sports 2.0 Network, go to Sports 20 Network on Twitter and then at Sports 2.0 Network on Facebook and Instagram. Now, at Twitter, they don't let the handle have a period in it, so it's at Sports 20 Network if you're confused why it's that on Twitter. And then at Tanner Kern on Instagram for me, at Tanner Kern _ on Twitter. And then check out Baseball Spotlight for a bunch of my articles and a bunch of our great content creators there. We're pumping out so many baseball articles this season, so definitely check that out. But thank you for watching. I will see you guys next Sunday for another episode. And don't forget, every day I'm coming out with daily picks on YouTube, on the Sports 2.0 YouTube. So check those out. We're having a rough day today, but we are up like 10 games in the season, so we're doing good. Have a great Easter. I will talk to you guys next week.
Was that a Pinocchio? 1-1, Scott to right.